Well, you know, coming from a country like India, I've been very aware of the need for innovation because we have huge challenges. The world today faces enormous challenges, and I think it throws up huge innovation opportunities. So we've been looking at that, saying, how do we innovate in India? But most importantly, we've been following an affordable innovation model. Because I really believe that a lot of innovation today in the world reaches very few people. And I think a lot more people need to benefit from innovation. So I think we need to work partnering models that really deliver on affordable innovation. One of the things that, really has concerned me a lot in recent times is about how innovative assets have been acquired and squatted upon and shelved instead of being developed. And I believe very often what we see is that these innovation assets or IP assets are overvalued, and then you have a deficit funding to develop these innovation platforms. And, you know, in many cases, I think companies who overpay for these assets then find that their return on those investments are very low, and again it's shelved. So we need to do something about unlocking a lot of valuable innovation assets where you almost de-link the innovators from these acquisitions. And, you know, that is something where I think we need to work upon as a group to see how do we free up these assets. How do we prevent squatting and shelving of IP assets and really allow these assets to be developed? So I prefer licensing as a model as opposed to acquisitions. And this is something I really think that Europe needs to think about, because I think today on the flight to Brussels, I was reading about how AstraZeneca is actually making a very bold move of opening up their drug innovation portfolio, their patent portfolios, and allowing public and private sector researchers to work on these molecules and IP to take it to another level, and they're even willing to fund it. I thought that was a very interesting model. So I think that's what really I'm concerned about. And for a country like India, we are looking at, really kickstarting innovation at some point. And to me, incremental innovation is very important. And, coming from the biopharmaceutical field, we always talk about first-in-class drugs leading to best-in-class drugs. For example, Lipitor, which is the biggest selling blockbuster drug, went off patent last week. But it's the fourth molecule in the group of statins, which started with the first molecule 10 years before it, which was lovastatin. So, and of course, you have many other examples you can cite in the IT space where, the stable of very innovative products from Apple have all been derived from first-in-class products that were developed years before them. The iPad, for instance, launched in 2010, is actually a best-in-class product from a first-in-class product that was Microsoft's tablet PC. iPod is again from an MP3 player concept. So, you can see how innovation can actually drive exponential value if you can build on existing knowledge and technologies. And to me today, Europe, with its set of challenges, needs to look at radical reforms where you need to leverage new technologies. We are not using new technologies enough. Even countries like Kenya are beginning to use new technologies like the mobile phone for health management. I was very, very taken by the fact that Kenya has been using mobile phones to report new AIDS cases, monitor AIDS patients, and even compliance of drugs using mobile phones. So there's lots of innovative opportunities across the world.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for these remarks. And you're absolutely right. Innovation is most of the time or very often a response to a problem. And we'll actually have Eric Schmidt of Google with us later today, who's the title of the speech is In Search of Better Problems. So you're absolutely right, and also pointing out this issue of what we call frugal innovation here in Europe. So innovating not just for the elite, but really for the masses. And I think here India has really done groundbreaking work. So thank you for these remarks. Our next speaker is Silvia Venturini Fendi, a creative director of Fendi, a very prominent and successful high fashion house, which originated in Italy, but very much like L'Oreal has now gone global, enjoys global name recognition. And Silvia, you represent the third generation of the family business and have therefore chosen to continue a very proud tradition of creativity, of design, and of elegance that was first started in 1925 when the company was first founded. And Fendi really has too many accomplishments and distinctions to list here, but I did want to list one, and that is, of course, the famous Baguette handbag, which you first designed in 1997, and which has gone on really to become a global cult bag for the world's beautiful and famous. I have to confess, I don't have one, but I like them very much. Silvia, we are very, very eager to hear from you about the important role that the creative industry can and does play in fostering innovation in Europe.